It really has been a shame that I feel like I've heard nobody talk about this main event of Manel Kape versus Kyoji Horiguchi 2, a rematch in the making from 9 years ago when these guys first fought in Rise. And I'm really excited for this one. I think it is one of the highest level, like, not only fights you could have in flyweight, but highest level fights in the UFC. Two really, really skilled guys in the UFC in the flyweight division. And Manel Kape versus Kyoji Horiguchi 2, I think is going to be a classic. And this is an overall pretty solid Apex card outside of Kyoji versus Manel. You know, Ion Cutelaba versus Navajo Stirling is a pretty solid fight. C-Rod versus Hyder Amil. I'll pronounce their names later. Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. We'll get into that one. That one's a fun one. Andre Lima versus Kevin Borjas. Mesquita. Goes without saying, she's absolutely beautiful. Allan Nascimiento's on this card. And then there's some other fucks too. And Leon Shabazi and Edmund Shabazian's brothers on this one. But if you're new, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into this one by just starting off with the main event. Manel Kape versus Kyoji Horiguchi. And I'm a little bit scared for Kyoji Horiguchi here because I was kind of thinking of picking Manel Kape all week. I'm like, the power, you know, how sharp he looked against Brandon Royval. And it's just such an insane level main event. But then I was like, the Kyoji title run, I have fully bought into. I think he's going to win this one. You know, I think it's going to be a lot closer than the first fight between these guys almost 9 years ago, where Manel Kape was really wild in that one. He was a lot younger. Fought kind of like an idiot with his hands down, was just out there hunting for kind of those big KO moments, but got out grappled and ended up getting finished. And one of the reasons why I like Kyoji in this one is he is hard to put out. He is very durable. I know he's taken a lot of fights in his career, but I think he can match Manel Kape's movement very well. You know, he's explosive, mixes in kicks very well to the head and to the body, also to the legs, also mixes in the grappling so well, can wrestle very well, and has a nasty straight right hand. I think that's going to be the key for Kyoji Horiguchi in this one, where in that first fight against Manel Kape, he was landing pretty much whatever you want on him, and especially that straight right. Dropped Manel Kape multiple times, ended up getting him finished. I believe he won by submission in that one. And again, Kyoji Horiguchi, even at his older age, has looked so sharp in his return to the UFC with wins over, you know, the fucking alien freak. How does he make flyweight Tagir Ulanbekov? And then dominating Amir Albazi. I mean, Amir Albazi literally had nothing for him for 3 rounds. Now, Manel Kape is a southpaw who has big power, like scary one-shot KO power for the division, and a really scary straight left. And, you know, he can back you up so well against the fence. He does such a great job doing that. Landed a big right hook on Brandon Royval. Killed him, also beat Aswell Mabayev. Now, he fucking poked that guy in the eye. And Manel Kape is a cheater with the eye pokes, the fucking taking steroids, you name it. And one thing I will say, the reason why Brandon Royval lost to Manel Kape was because he was staring at Manel Kape's double Ds. This guy legitimately is tits. For a guy who's only 125 pounds, I know he probably comes in the octagon at like 140 or something. He has the biggest tits I've ever seen from somebody that small. So his double Ds distracted Brandon Royval, and that's really the only reason he lost. But Manel Kape is going to fight really well off the front foot. That's what he wants to do. And I think it's going to be hard for him to kind of keep Kyoji Horiguchi in the fence. His movement is second to none. He moves so well against the fence, just throughout the octagon, circling out. And also the wrestling threat, I think, is going to kind of change Manel Kape's approach in this fight. And we've seen the takedown threat slow down Manel Kape in years past, whether it's, you know, against a Pantoja or a Mokaev. And I would probably say Kyoji Horiguchi is a much sharper striker than those guys. And Horiguchi just sets stuff up so well with his takedowns. He's such a smart guy. You know, American top team, so he knows how to fucking throw calf kicks, variety of kicks, and just game plan very well. And Kape got shut down by Mokaev with kicks. I know it was a, you know, largely underwhelming fight, but that really helped stymie kind of Manel Kape's offense. And I can expect a really early kick game from Kyoji Horiguchi. Another thing about Manel Kape that I don't really like is he bites on feints a lot. I don't remember the exact fight, but he'll do these big fucking sprawls where if you feint, he'll just shoot immediately down. I think it happened against Ode Osborne. I think that was the fight, whoever it was, but I could see Kape being kind of very reactive to the takedown game and kind of leading to Kyoji Horiguchi landing a little bit more and just really controlling this fight with ease. I don't think that will happen. I don't think this will be an easy fight for him whatsoever, but I do think he is going to win this one. I think Kape's going to need to stay on the front foot and work the body really well with body kicks if he wants to this one. I think it'll be very interesting. It's going to be very close. They know each other very well. The only thing that worries me for Kyoji Horiguchi outside of the power of Manel Kape is that this is a smaller cage. And, obviously we've seen Kyoji work in the Apex before. I believe the Albazi fight was in the Apex. But will Kyoji be able to keep kind of this high pace for 5 rounds? That will be the interesting part, and avoid the power of Manel Kape. I'm excited for this one. I'm going to take Kyoji Horiguchi by decision. Again, it wouldn't shock me if Manel Kape just slammed him out and I fucking cried, because that just seems the way it goes with my main event picks. But moving on to the co-main event, Ion Cutelaba versus Navajo Stirling. Now, Navajo Stirling is kind of an interesting prospect because in theory, you look at him, you think he'd be this big knockout artist who just gets a ton of highlight reel finishes, and he really isn't that, because you look at him, you think he's a killer, but he hasn't really seemed to put it all together yet. Like, there is something there because he has good fight IQ and good fundamentals, but hasn't really figured out that finishing aspect of MMA yet. And I think this is an interesting fight because Cutelaba is crafty. He seems to beat a lot of prospects. Like, he's unpredictable in the sense you don't really know what version of him is going to show up. And Navajo Stirling kind of like that classic CKB guy where he's going to jab, calf kick, just fight smart, not really a big finisher whatsoever. Cutelaba's coming off a nice win over Umar Sy, who sucks. I mean, he's Alonzo Mena field victim. But again, Cutelaba is inconsistent. One fight, he'll kind of just destroy you like he did Ibo Aslan. Not saying Ibo Aslan's good, but, he's a name nonetheless. And then the next fight, he's fucking going out there, getting out grappled, schooled by Johnny fucking Walker. Also lost to Felipe Lean somehow. I think this is a good test for Navajo Stirling in the sense that, like, Ion Cutelaba can fluke you, and he does do a nice job pressuring you up against the fence, finding takedowns for subs. We saw Navajo Stirling. Kind of been a problem for him is getting back to the fence, even against Bruno Lopez, who he just finished by brutal elbows, and I forget who the ref was, but he wanted Bruno Lopez to die. And Rodolfo Bellato, 2 guys who are not particularly good. They did a nice job backing up Navajo Stirling to the fence, which does worry me because Ion Cutelaba is better than those guys. Navajo Stirling, again, not a guy who has one-shot KO power like an Oldberg. He's kind of like a worse version of Izzy, I would say, where he's moving forward, working the jab, mixes in kicks, can also mix in like the takedowns of the clinch if he needs to. He's just a smart fighter. That's what I think about Navajo Stirling. Maybe he comes out here and knocks out Ion Cutelaba, and then, kind of his stock rises, in my opinion. But I feel like his floor, maybe his ceiling is low and his floor is high in the sense that I feel like he'll always be kind of good, even if he's not super exciting to watch, just because he does fight smart and does have like a good baseline of fundamentals. I don't think he's bad. People say Navajo Stirling's bad. I do think he's decent. I don't think he'll ever be champ unless he can kind of figure out like that X factor. But I feel like you either have it or you don't. I don't think Navajo Stirling does, but I trust him to win this one for some reason. Just because the guy in Cutelaba is kind of old. He's inconsistent. I feel like I know what I'm getting out of Navajo Stirling, and I trust Navajo to use his jab, his leg kicks, use his range very well, use his feints, and kind of win a fairly boring 29-20 decision where it kind of just leaves you with the same questions about this guy. It's like, how good really is Navajo Stirling? And you're just like, he's all right. Maybe he's, he could probably be ranked one day. Light heavyweights, not really that good. Moving on to Christian Rodriguez C-Rod versus Hyder Amil. And I think, what is the line on this? I'm just curious if C-Rod's a favorite. Oh, geez, he is kind of a decent sized favorite. But I'm going to go with C-Rod in this one because Hyder Amil struggles with guys who can really grapple. C-Rod's a weird fighter to predict because, he loses to Andre Fili and Julian Erosa, who I know has been the featherweight division forever, but then he beats a young Chihuahuas and kind of out grapples him. He doesn't really make a lot of sense as a fighter, but I do think he is very accomplished in the grappling game. Hyder Amil is going to be a lot better on the feet, but got controlled a lot against Jamal Emmers, who isn't even a grappler. He's like a striker. I think Jamal Emmers had fucking 10 minutes of control time in that one. I think Christian Rodriguez will win this one by smudge fest. Emmers was just working takedowns in that fight and just holding Hyder Amil down. C-Rod's a great grappler. Great wrestler, Hyder Amil can throw great combos, and C-Rod doesn't move his head a lot. So early on, I do worry for Christian Rodriguez possibly kind of surviving that first round. But once C-Rod gets a hold of you, he's going to hold you down and kind of have his way with you. We saw him do it to Melky Costa, even though he lost that fight. It was very close. C-Rod can out-scramble you, pretty much out-grapples everybody, can also put a pace on you, so even if he loses a round, he knows how to turn it up for rounds 2 and 3. And I think, I could see him struggling early with just maybe getting takedowns, and Hyder Amil's just doing a good job piecing him up. But he'll find dominance in the second and third round, working the grappling, working his takedowns in, working the wrestling, and win this one by decision. So I picked 3 fucking decisions to start this card off. Great fucking job. But I'm not going to pick one here. Melsik Bagdasaryan versus Murtazali Magomedov. Now, Magomedov, I'm going to pick to win this one. You know, he was on Dana White's Contender Series. I believe he had a pretty nice knockout on there. I think I could see him getting pieced up pretty early because he's not great defensively, but he does have really nice work in the clinch and grappling. And Melsik does have a really nice kicking game and overall just speed on the feet. And I could see him starting very strong. But I think second round, Magomedov will get inside and could catch you very bad. And Melsik, you know, really is super inactive. Lost to John Silver like a year and a half ago. Got submitted by a striker somewhere in his time in the UFC. I think Melsik is going to get... Why did I say Melsik's going to catch him on the chin? Maybe he subs him in... What was I saying here? Second round... What? Why am I I don't actually know who the fuck I picked for this one. I think I picked Melsik. No, I picked Magomedov. Magomedov's going to find him inside. And I don't know why here I wrote fucking Melsik catches him on the chin. I think Murtazali Magomedov is going to get the finish here by like second round TKO, maybe second round submission. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I don't know why the fuck I was saying I had Melsik here getting the finish. But yeah, Magomedov will find him. He's really nice inside close. And I think he'll find him inside the pocket, catch his chin pretty badly, and knock out Melsik Bagdasaryan by round 2 TKO. I don't know why my fucking notes there said I picked Melsik. Whatever. Now, moving on to this is an interesting one, though. Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. I think Vinicius Oliveira is incredibly overrated. I think the fucking betting lines are all off for this fight. I think Andre Fili is going to win this one where, you know, I don't think this is an easy debut for Vinicius Oliveira whatsoever because Fili's a win one, lose one kind of a fighter. He's pretty crafty. He just lost a really close fight to Jose Miguel Delgado, who's a lot better than Vinicius Oliveira. Now, Andre Fili, he's fucking due for a win. Oliveira got badly exposed in his last fight where he kind of just got exposed as a guy who was a weight bully and a size bully for bantamweight who would just beat up on dudes who were a lot smaller than him. He isn't really that good or skilled. You know, beat Kyler Phillips in kind of that weird fight that left you very like, on him because going in that fight, people were like, this is the future of the bantamweight division, Vinicius Oliveira. And then, you know, outside of that, Kyler Phillips won his best wins like Said Nurmagomedov or a Ricky Simone. And you kind of look at him and think he's this big finisher, big knockout power guy. He really isn't. He's not really good whatsoever. I think him being ranked with a number next to his name kind of fooled a lot of people on how good he is. I think he only has 1 KO in the fucking UFC. He's not some insane finisher, not some insane striker, one-shot KO guys, kind of a decision merchant, just bullied up on small bantamweights as a giant one. Mario Batista brutally exposed him, and it's not like Mario Batista is this prolific finisher either, and Batista exposed him in all facets of MMA with the striking, the grappling, you name it. And I know Vinicius Oliveira was cutting a ton of weight to kind of make bantamweights, and the funny thing is he's cutting all that weight, so moves up the featherweight. He's not even bigger than Andre Fili. I believe Andre Fili is both taller and longer than him, and Fili's a better striker. You know, he's fought better competition, held up against Jose Miguel Delgado, who's more talented, even dropped him at one point, mixing the grappling really well in that fight. Oliveira, too wild, not defensively sound. Fili, I think, is going to piece him up, mixing the grappling. He'll have Vinicius Oliveira will probably have a moment because Andre Fili's old as fuck, but Fili's going to win by decision. Just a nice striker, good jab, you know, nice power, grapples very well. Like, you can chin him. I just think Vinicius Oliveira is not good, and Andre Fili is due for a win. So I'm going to pick Andre Fili by decision in this one. Moving on to Andre Lima versus Kevin Borjas. I forget if it's Borjas or Borjas, but we'll go with Borjas. And this is a tough fight for Kevin Borjas. Now, he did come in like 3 or 4 pounds overweight, so that'll usually not set you up for anything. I do feel bad for Kevin Borjas because he's had to fight like a lot of, you know, decent names, whether it's Sumerdarji or fucking Imanol Rodriguez or Joshua Van. Like, he's had not an easy go out of it, but he isn't really that good. Now, in the Imanol Rodriguez fight, he actually started out very strong. I believe he, like, dropped Imanol Rodriguez pretty badly, but Andre Lima is going to win this one. I think he's going to win by TKO, you know. I think Andre Lima just got really nice forward pressure, nice body shots. Like, the interesting thing, though, with Kevin Borjas, why I don't think Andre Lima is just going to run through him, is like even Joshua Van had kind of struggled to find shots at Kevin Borjas' head. And, you know, Andre Lima, I think, will struggle with that early, but he does have a nice jab. Excuse me. He does have a nice jab. Now, Kevin Borjas is aggressive. He'll move his head well, and, you know, Andre Lima, I do think once he finds body shots in this fight, he will take over. Now, Borjas can also kick well at range, but I think Lima has a ton of power and potential, will work the body well, eventually find his straight right, and win by second round TKO. Now, Borjas also can mix the grappling well, and Lima was taken down a lot because of kind of how open he throws his punches. That did happen a lot in his last fight. I think he got taken down like 5 times. But I think Lima is just too good, explosive, and Borjas will look good early, but will get broken down as the fight goes on. Kind of what happened to him in the Imanol Rodriguez fight. I'm going with Andre Lima by second round TKO. Kevin Borjas, buddy, you're getting fucking cut. Moving on to Bia Mesquita versus Melissa Mullins. Bia Mesquita, my fucking girl. I think she talked to Clav on his stream, but I don't really even need to talk about this fight that much. Bia Mesquita's hot. She's got a nice ass. Look good in the UFC. Nasty BJJ. Very accomplished BJJ practitioner. She's going to win this one by submission. On the feet, like, it's interesting because she's not very technical, but she does have power. She has no head movement. She kind of just mogs woman because she's just a fucking beast and big. She's going to beat up Melissa Mullins pretty badly. Mullins just can't do enough. She's not, you know, a big enough woman for this. And Bia will take you down. She has nasty ground and pound with her elbows, and she'll find a submission. I'm going Bia Mesquita by round 1 submission. Thank you, mommy. Moving on to Mitch Raposo versus Allan Nascimiento. That's who he fucking fought. I was trying to remember what random Kazakhstani outside Maxim that Mitch Raposo fought. Now, Mitch Raposo I don't think is fucking very good at all. Allan Nascimiento, like, this guy is like borderline ranked at this point. He should be fighting dudes who are either ranked or about to be ranked. Like, Mitch Raposo just isn't all that. Allan Nascimento's got a massive size advantage, hits a lot harder. Raposo, like, he is, I guess, good in the sense that he puts pressure on you, is kind of like twitchy and, you know, I guess athletic and can box, but doesn't really defend takedowns very well. I think Nascimento will kind of avoid the pressure of Raposo, deal with them, and then he could just sit down on shots in the pocket and hurt you pretty badly. Also, if he wants to grapple, can get you in on double legs, body lock, trips to find his grappling and find a submission. Also is really good in the clinch, can dump you off the body lock, find the rear naked choke once you get you down. Is just a better wrestler. Just kind of size mogs him, in my opinion. He'll win this one, in my opinion, pretty easily by dominant decision or submission in round 3. I'm gonna go with submission just because I just want Allan Nascimento to win by submission. But whatever. Mitch Raposo, he really isn't all that. Allan Nascimento, just a lot better. A guy who I think is pretty good at flyweight. You know, had a pretty close fight with Cody Durden, not a close fight. He ended up finishing Cody Durden, but that was kind of a fun one where he was able to handle the pressure of Cody Durden in that fight and get a finish. So I just like Allan Nascimento. He's just that fucking shoot the box legend, whatever. Moving on to Michael Aswell Jr. versus Gaston Bolanos. Walmart Ilya versus BSD, Wish.com BSD. I like Aswell here. He's more proven. You know, he is inconsistent, but he is a former lightweight. Bolanos coming up from bantamweight, and Bolanos will fight behind his kicks pretty well, can grapple, can scramble. Boxing defense kind of sucks. His chin's not really great whatsoever, and kind of got, you know, destroyed by Marcus McGee and Quang Lee at bantamweight. You know, Aswell's fought legit guys at 55, where there was like Pelagioki or at least names. And his last fight, he fought Luke Riley, who's definitely a rising, pretty hyped up prospect at featherweight. He's pretty durable. Again, he can box. He has really good counters inside, can land his overhands and hooks very well. Nice volume also, where he can mix up combos of the body, can back you up very well and land hard. Bolanos has been chin at bantamweight, and Aswell has pretty good reach. I just think I could see him backing up Gaston Bolanos and getting volume off on him and then just bombing him in round 2 and winning this one by round 2 TKO. Gaston Bolanos is really not that good, and Michael Aswell, like, even though he's inconsistent, I do think he's at least decent for the division. I'm going to pick Michael Aswell in this one by round 2 TKO. I picked a lot of those already. Leon Shabazian versus Levan Jokeli. Yeah, I think this guy's Georgian. Yeah, Georgian, not Italian, like I try to do the accent there. Leon Shabazian, brother of Edmund, Now, he's not really that great. You know, he's like not a great boxer, has lengths and can kick pretty well and has like a nice straight right hand inside, but can't really box well whatsoever or defensively box. Kind of chubby too, doesn't really have this great build. I think Chokelly's just more technical, better boxer, nice left hook on the inside, also has the length despite being shorter. And I think he can also mix in the clinch and the takedowns better. Now, I don't think he should do this in this one because the one thing Leon Shabazian can do pretty well is he does have nice submission game off of his back. And the reason why you can't pick Leon Shabazian is because this guy got destroyed by Ryan Loder, who fucking sucks. Ryan Loder's absolutely terrible. Chokelly's going to get inside of him, rock him, and finish him in round 2. I just continue to pick round 2 knockouts. Maybe this is the card of round 2 knockouts. Whatever. We got 2 fights left. Carol Rosa versus Luana Santos. You might be thinking of picking Luana. What are the people thinking about this fight? A lot of people are picking Luana Santos. Well, I'm going up against the fucking grain. Luana Santos, like, you know, I think she's the bigger name. People know who she is, and it's an orthodox versus orthodox fight. Now, Santos can box and can mix in the grappling probably better than Rosa, but Rosa does have nice leg kicks and nice jab. Santos could take you down and sub you, but she's kind of just undersized and not really that good of a boxer. And like, Carol Rosa fought Aline Perez, and Aline Perez is just size, and her fat ass forced Rosa to kind of defend takedowns and kind of out physicaled her. But Luana Santos really isn't all that. She's not really a ground and pound guy. I think Rosa's going to win this one on damage. Just bigger for the division. And how much bigger is she? She's not even that much bigger. Well, who gives a fuck? I'm picking Carol Rosa by decision. Moving on to Shane Collins versus Atari Tanzalovi. I'll go with Shane Collins here. 145. He's got good power and technique on the feet. Nice leg kicks too. Otari, you know, he's probably a better kicker and a pretty solid striker and good in the clinch. But I think Collins can do more damage, get his back to the fence, which Atari's kind of had trouble with in his past. And Collins can also use body shots very effectively. And he can defend takedowns from Atari, but boxes very well. Atari, good kicker and clinch. We'll keep it close, but I'm going with Shane Collins in this one by decision. Now, the prelims for this, not anything to write home about, but the rest of this card, the main card at least, is pretty fun. If you're new here, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Cage Doctor. The Doctor is signing off.